Good evening, everyone, and welcome to episode number 35 of Beyond the Court. I'm here with the great Todd Boss from Pro Racquetball Stats, USAR board member. Todd, what's up, buddy?
How you doing, Sudsy? Thanks for having me on.
I'm doing well, thank you. This is a interesting show. I really appreciate you joining while Ellie is taking his little vacation. Ellie, what's up? If you're out there, I think you are. So tonight, Todd, we're going to have yourself, of course, the Pro Racquetball Stats guy. You know, I love what you do, and so many of us love it because every pro sport has it, and you continue to do it. You put those stats out there. Nobody's ever done it. We really appreciate that. But you're also a USAR board member. And, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit at the end and just kind of talk about, obviously, this recently announced policy. And we're also going to have Hollie Rae Scott, USA national team member. So that should be fun, Todd.
Absolutely.
All right. I like your background, by the way. I do like the US Open.
Yes, as you were saying, let's hope that this happens this year. Let's hope
Whoa. Time, that's another conversation. You want to go that route? Which way? I mean, we got so many ways we can go right now. It's we'll talk about that after.
Okay.
So, all right, everyone, here's the deal. Tonight, we were going to discuss the recently published policy that the USAR introduced. That was every intention I had to discuss it. The LPRT is following the same policy as well. I decided personally, and of course, with some family, friends, and loved ones, that now just isn't the time to discuss it on Beyond the Court. We'll keep it a brief discussion. We're not going to get deep into it. That was going to be the meat and potatoes of the show, but instead we're going to have a little bit of fun. Yes, I received a bunch of messages, no doubt about it. I had talks with a bunch of loved ones, friends, family, people that matter. And to be quite honest, many of you wanted me to talk about it. They just wanted to see if it was the right time. And that's not why I'm changing direction. I'm really, Todd, I'm just calling a timeout. I'm going to call a timeout. I'm going to get back to it. But just like I would prepare for a match when I was playing, I want to prepare and I want to educate myself further on the topic. Of course, we, Todd, we all have opinions on this and many topics, but I'm not going to share mine just yet. Can we have opinions? That's the question, right? Of course we can. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychologist. Just because a policy is created, Todd, and anyone else out there, does that mean it's right or it's the best policy? Can it be improved? Since that policy came out, I've been doing a lot of research and I've been talking to a lot of people. And, a lot of people have even said, if it hasn't impacted you directly or you have no relation to it, could you talk about it? Yeah, I can. So can you. We can all talk about things that we've never maybe been directly impacted with, or we might be impacted with. That's our right. How it happens at the end, though, where it ends and where those relationships go, that's the issue today. Someone asked me in a text, Todd, and you know who it was. They asked me, am I only comfortable discussing things I'm already knowledgeable about? And for any of you that know me, that is not at all true. I actually want to discuss the hard topics. Todd knows this very well, and I'm glad that he's on the show tonight. Todd and I talk, offline about a lot of things. We talk about a lot of the issues that we see or I see in racquetball. We share ideas together, and at the end, we're trying to come together to make it better for all of you, not just me, not just Todd, not just USA Racquetball, but just the sport as a whole. Here I am in Ecuador, and the sport feels the effects of what happens in the United States also. It trickles all over the world. But am I comfortable? Yeah, I'm confident that I can facilitate any topic. But can we agree to disagree? That's the worst part. Can we even have discussions, then disagree, still be friends? Will you still play racquetball with me? Will you play with your friend? Your loved one, if they don't agree with you, no matter which way you go. Racquetball has a lot of issues. Todd Boss knows that. He's a board member of USA Racquetball, and many other people know that, not just USA Racquetball. But we're not here to put, a light on it and say everything's great. We just need positivity. No, we don't. We need to face the reality. We need to face the issues. We need to come together. We need leadership to step up and go, yeah, this is a problem. That's a problem, and address it, because it's not only about the good. If it was, it's like playing a match again, Todd. I reference it all the time. Don't tell me how great you played when you won your match. I want to know what happened when you lost and you got your ass kicked. That's when we improve, not just by, oh, everything's great. We're trying to do this. We're trying to do that. Yay, yay, rah, rah, kumbaya. No. So I'm doing all I can, to keep racquetball front and center, keep it going, keep it engaged, keep it energized, keep sponsors, keep businesses involved and want to be part of it. You know, Seeing other players, Todd, go to other sports, especially some of our pros. And I'm not going to mention the fact, I'm not going to say names, but like it kills me to see Daniel playing pickleball. He's going to be the best in the world there. I already told him, stop talking to me till you're number one in the world in pickleball. You know, Personally, just so you all know, if you ever want, we can agree to disagree and still be friends. That's me. But I know that's not everybody, and that's okay. I'm going to leave this topic right now for the organizations to figure out and to see what they need to do. Hopefully, they do what's best for the sport today and tomorrow, and what's best for everybody and the majority in the sport. And I'm sure we can figure something out. And Todd, I'm going to go to you now. You're a USAR board member,
Mhm.
and when this policy was announced, and again, I'm sorry, we're not going to get deep into it, right? But first off, tell everybody why this policy came about, how it came about, like out of nowhere, and give us just kind of a background on that part of it.
Well, so I get the sense that from comments that I've read that some people think that this is a problem that the USAR board went searching for a solution for. Well, that's not necessarily the case. But quite simply, um, there wasn't a policy in place, and then suddenly there have been cases where there have been transgender athletes that have applied to play uh, USAR sanctioned tournaments. And one of the one of the reasons ETRA for an NGB in this country is to provide standardized policies for their sanctioned events, and that's basically exactly what this was. You don't want to be in a situation where you are sanctioning events in Georgia or California and Texas, and there's a different policy being implemented at the local level because you don't have a policy defined. So quite simply, USAR needed to needed to issue a policy that its sanctioned tournament directors could abide by and provide a standard level of policy application across the board. And that's basically it.
Okay. Yeah. Todd, I always appreciate our talks. And, again, we talk offline, and you're not ever afraid to talk about the tough stuff, and you messaged me also, as far as this topic when I asked you to join me. And please, can tell everybody what your message was to me.
Well, my message to you was so like it or not, this particular issue, like a lot of political or like a lot of other issues that our country, you're in Ecuador, but that we face in America,
It's
especially over the
everywhere.
last,
No, it's everywhere, Todd. It's
okay,
everywhere. Yeah.
and so this is one of those topics that really gets a lot of passion on both sides. On
Sure.
people who support and support the inclusion of and want to apply policies that allow for transgender athletes to compete. They're very passionate about that. Just as on the other side, people that struggle with the issue of transgender athletes and struggle to understand, what happened there, or whether or not they deserve to compete, or how you have them compete in a fair and impartial manner. This issue brings out a lot of passions in people. And so my concern for you was just generally, hey, no matter where you fall on this, you have to have some opinion at some point that's going to disagree with some people that you've known for 20 years, and you're not going to agree with them on this particular policy, no matter where you fit in the spectrum of inclusion versus outright banning. Anywhere in between, there's going to be somebody that's just to the right or just to the left of your opinion who now disagrees with you vehemently because of the passion that this issue raises. And that was my big concern for broaching this and having a discussion about it.
And again, Todd, I appreciated that. And with that, we had a little private discussion and you still were ready to go. You didn't run from it. You just wanted to let me know. And I really do appreciate that. And that's kind of what sucks. It's just the world today. If you agree with someone or disagree with someone, that's it. You're an idiot. You're a moron. You know, look at sports. Who's the GOAT, right? Hey, why can't we just have discussions? Why can't we just understand and look into it? And like, so again, I've been doing a lot of research since this came out because I think it's important. Obviously now we have this policy that's been implemented in racquetball. Like I said, the LPRT is following suit. They'll be using the same policy. And I sent you the video, and one of the interesting videos I saw was about Tokyo 2020. And you said it, Todd. I'm glad you said it. You used the word inclusion. And before we take a quick commercial break and we bring in USA team member Hollie Rae Scott, I'm left with a question. Is it possible to have inclusion and fairness? So we're going to leave it at that. And, I hope you all enjoy the show. I hope you're okay with the route we're going. I think you should be. That's the point of it. I think you should share the feed. It's about racquetball. It's not about us. Share this, get racquetball out there. You're watching because you love racquetball. Again, I'll talk about anything you want, but this is called Beyond the Court, and we discuss racquetball. And it's because we want racquetball to be, the important part of your day, an important part of your life. And share it, get it out there. We're going to be right back, Todd Boss, with Hollie Rae Scott after this quick commercial. All right, we're back with Hollie Rae Scott, USA team member. Hollie, how are you?
Ooh, pretty good. How are you guys?
We're doing well. You know Todd Boss, right?
Of course. Everybody knows
does.
Todd.
I don't think
Hollie,
we've never met, but I know you and you know me.
There you go.
and
We're meeting right now.
Hey, Hollie, thank you for being on tonight. Originally you were coming on to discuss a topic that you are somebody that will be directly impacted by the policies. And I appreciate it. We spoke already on the phone, and we're not going to get into that tonight. We're going to save that for a future time. And it's okay for all of us to have an opinion, but what I do like, and what I think is important for everybody to know out there is, I know you've been doing a ton of research yourself. I mean, the first thing you said was, I am going to educate and research myself on this topic before I come on the show, and you were ready to come on running. So I just want to say thank you to that, and we'll move on from there. So Hollie, how are you doing? You're in Washington now, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
For sure.
And courts, you got courts, everything's going?
Yeah, our courts are open. I'm a little north of Seattle right now, just because Seattle's expensive and school's online. So why would I be there? But I heard that Seattle just opened their court. So I think the whole state's finally up and running. I mean, I know Washington was the very first state to go into quarantine and lock everything down. And we're one of the last to start opening up. Our restaurants finally opened up 2 weeks ago. So it's been lonely and long. Yeah.
Are you able to practice now? Are you fully in training mode now?
Yes, I did take a couple of days off. I just got LASIK, so no more glasses. So tomorrow it's up again, and I'm ready. I've been ready. I've been going for it. I know right when the festival was announced, I wrote in the comments, I'm ready for it now. Let's do it right now. I'll go. I'll fly out.
Todd, I'll hand that one off to you, the festival. You're a USAR board member.
Yeah. Well, hey, so speaking of the festival, so now on the US, for the US women's side, I feel like you are part of what I now call a big four, which is going to be you, Erica, Rhonda, and Kalani. You know, any given Sunday, are any of the four of you able to beat any of the other four? Is the national team just going to come down to seeding and matchups, or who's hot that day?
I mean, I'm coming for blood. I'm after losing to my girl Kaylani that at one point a couple years ago, it haunts me in my sleep, and I'll die on the court before I let any of them beat me again. I love Kaylani, good game, but
Holly, let me ask you. I mean, you know, I know you work with Cliff, and happy birthday, Cliff Swain. Clifford Swain, cheers to you, buddy. Happy birthday. I love you. Thank you for making me a better racquetball player in person, on and off the court. And you're doing that to Hollie Rae Scott. You know, Cliff Swain told me, he told Veronica and I a couple of years ago, Holly, he said she will win a pro stop one day. And I mean, he's adamant about that, Todd. Holly is a battler. So Holly, I'm going to ask you this. You have some LPRT events coming up, right? You have the Sweet Caroline. And then you have the Randy Root, or is that after Nationals?
After Nationals. I think it's like 2 weeks after. Yeah.
Okay. Are you planning to go to all three events?
All of them. Yep. I'm going out. Already marked the days off of work calendar. I'm going all three.
All right. So now, Todd, I'm going to put you on the spot because I'm going to ask Holly, and then you have to respond to her. You know, this is our first time kind of going back and forth, Todd. So Holly, the USAR National Festival announcement came out. And obviously, you know, you play singles and doubles. What do you know, tell everybody, what do you think of it? Because everybody has an opinion. People hate it. They love it. They're in between, blah, blah, blah. What's your opinion?
I mean, I'm really excited for it. Obviously, I'm waiting for nationals, ready to prove myself again after the last one. And revenge also, because national doubles is like together, got second with Lexi. I am a little annoyed, but I'm still excited. More excited than not that I will have to play for 6 days because it's doubles, then singles, one match a day, dragging it out, having to stay there for that long, taking that time off of work. And I think that's my finals week is the beginning of it. So I have to do finals and take off work, and it's play racquetball for whole 6 days. It's going to be a lot, kind of drug out, but I'm still happy about it. So it's like a little love-hate.
I mean, would you have rather, you know, for example, you know, one of the things that Sudsy and I has talked about is instead of, because it's national team qualifying events, you know, for the purposes of getting a team that's going to go represent the US at an international event, you know, would you have rather not had that in conjunction with a national, you know, a national tournament of the stature that we normally run, you know, which has national elite and A and B and C and 25As and 30s and 40s and 50s, you know, and just say, okay, well, why don't we just send, hey, if you want to try to qualify for the national team, show up in Phoenix on this weekend, and that's the only draw that we're running. You know, would you rather have an event like that, or would you rather be doing your qualifying in conjunction with national?
I thought the hard one. I thought that would have been a good idea for the juniors before they did that whole video analysis thing. So I would have definitely shown up for that. That would have been a fun experience. I do like the nationals though, having all the amateurs there and in the stands and cheering and everything like that. That's just like a whole nother feeling that you can't forget. You love that. All the fans. I don't know. I would show them both.
All right,
I like that idea though.
I got a different question for you. A couple, 3 years back, we used to run US Nationals in conjunction with an LPRT and IRT Pro Stop in Fullerton. And we had these massive draws. But the criticism was that for the US team members who were trying to both compete in a pro event and qualify for national at the same time, that was a struggle for them. Would you be in support of, you know, having a combined pro and nationals event, and you as a qualifying member being forced to play in 2 top draws?
I don't think that would be a good idea to bring that back. Because you're already trying to focus on playing, you know, your teammates, and that's hard enough as it is mentally to like have to get into that. We're not friends once we go through that door, you know, and then having to hang out with them and then hang out with other people and have the other teams watch you. It would be too much. I think mentally, physically, it would be exhausting.
Yeah, Todd, I agree with Holly. I think that, but we talked about this, and Holly, what my idea was, obviously we're going through this pandemic or whatever, and hopefully it's over. I don't mean whatever, no disrespect. See, Todd, somebody just got mad at me for saying whatever. I didn't mean it like that. Um, what my idea was, Holly, first off, in racquetball, no offense, now I'm going to offend us. We shouldn't be catering to us, the elite level, the professionals, and the US team, the best of the best, right? Like, we're going to be there. We're going to compete. We want to go be on the team. We want to win a US Open. I'm more concerned with the amateurs. What my idea was, Holly, was I said, we have plenty of time. Let's go to a location, whatever, Florida, Texas, wherever we can play, hold our qualifier, just the singles, it would just be us. They can stream it like crazy. If it was a spot where maybe we can have fans or people get involved, great. If not, you can run it separate. Then you can highlight the national team at the main national event where, hey, maybe we come in, and we do a clinic for everybody, a Q&A. Maybe there's daily interaction with us versus just Hollie Rae's on the court, she plays and now she leaves. Maybe there's a different feel. So that's kind of what Todd was saying, where I had said, I don't have a vote. I'm not part of USA Racquetball, but it was just a suggestion I made, which was, guys, we have places we can do this. Like, let's just get whoever wants to qualify or try to qualify. It doesn't have to just be you and I or Rocky and Alex and, anybody in the country that wants to try to qualify for the team comes to the team qualifier. And then we go from there. But, we have it like that. And St. Louis, right. I think the singles are the 3rd through the 6th and then the 6th through the 9th. So as a player, I have a question for you. Which would you rather compete in first, the singles or the doubles?
Singles, for sure. Because that's the one I really care about, is singles. Because I do love doubles, but I am a fan of singles more. And I feel like that would just get me pumped into doubles, I feel.
I got a question for you, Holly. Would you have rather they have run singles and doubles concurrently over that one weekend instead of making you stay, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday?
I think at least the qualifiers, but again, like Suzy said, we can't cater to us. It would have been nice, because I feel like the amateurs, they really most of them have no choice monetarily and time-wise and work and everything, to go to both. Or if they have a kid, all 3. Like, that's crazy. But we kind of, I don't know. It's hard. I would like to have it just in one.
Like, if this wasn't a COVID year, you'd be flying to one city in February to play doubles. You'd be flying to a second city in May to play singles, and you'd be flying to a third city in June to play junior. So is that better to force you to make 3?
Hollie's not a junior anymore.
I'm old now.
but that's part of this conversation. That's part of the criticism. And this, Sudsy. A lot of criticism out there about people who do want to stay for all 3, right? Is it better to have said, okay, well, I can stick in St. Louis and get one flight versus making 3 flights to 3 different cities and 3 different times of the year?
It's hard to get that many days off work for a lot of people. But also, like, the juniors, it's the 18-year-olds that are trying to qualify or start getting their bearings of the adult team. It helps them get in the mental, all right, we're going to adults. Okay, 2 months, I'm going to juniors. I'm using my experience from the adults to go to the juniors, or the other way around, So I feel like it helps them as well, traveling and separating the 2 instead of going, okay, I'm going to St. Louis for all 3. Like, we talked to Annie and Aaron, and they said they probably won't do it because it's just too much.
And Holly, right there, you just hit it. Like, that's what bugs me. Somebody that came up, played all the junior nationals, then went right to playing for the national team and then playing professionally. And Todd, that's really what got me. Holly, let me ask you, you're a national champ, you're a champion. I want to know, if you were in the juniors, because you're only a few years removed, what would you do this week? And do you think you'd play all 3? She's changing her headphones. That's better. Yep, that's great.
It's really quiet.
No, that's good.
My sound like cut out.
You could change it. It's okay. Go ahead. We're not, formal here. Do what you got to do.
Uh-oh.
So.
Uh-oh. Hold on. Wait.
Well, we can hear you. Much clearer now, actually.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Did we lose you, Holly? No sound?
go. Okay. It was like my computer went weird. Okay.
All right. Can you hear us?
Yeah, now I can. Yeah.
Okay, so Holly, you're not too many years removed, from juniors. And I told you earlier, you're one of, just like Todd said, you're one of, if not the best USA female player right now in the country. And would you have played juniors, singles, and doubles if were still in juniors? You just said it. Our probably our best junior is not, correct? She's not?
Yeah, now I don't. She said no in the other one, the last time you guys talked to her. So I assume that answer is still no. But we're different people, and I think I would have done all three for
Okay.
sure. Yes.
Are
Is
you
that
playing in the Colorado event in the Gym High, the Worlds singles and mixed?
yes.
You
Yes.
are cool. Okay, great.
Yeah, I'll be going to that as well. So,
Who's your mixed partner?
I think I have an idea, but I don't want to like just assume. So
Oh, who's your female partner?
I don't think there's
There's
female
not.
Women's doubles?
No,
just
it's LPRT singles, IRT singles, and mixed pro doubles. And
Oh.
Todd, it's funny. Nobody wants to say who their mixed partner is. I have mine, and it's a little.
I feel
Hush,
like
hush.
I
Wait.
know, but I don't
Wait.
know.
Are you married to your mixed partner?
I am not. I do wish she was going. And when this individual called me about a month ago, I said, sure, it'd be a pleasure. Let's take a run at it. So, I have every intention of being out there at that event. Holly, that's going to be an awesome event. So,
Mhm.
all right, now tell us, what are your goals this year? What are your goals in racquetball?
Oh, racquetball to get to the top, baby. Do as best as I can. I mean, I'm training, and then I think every time I get on the court at a tournament, I do better. I mean, over the last tournament in Kansas, I feel confident, and I'm really excited for these next pro stops, and I'm ready. That's just racquetball, though.
Todd, do you have Holly stats?
I do.
But don't pull them up. No. Don't do that.
I'm looking at your match history to kind of see the progression of the matches that of the wins that you have. And so for me, and so for those of you who don't know, in December in Kansas City, you took out Samantha Salas in the 16s, which I think has got to be. I think that's your best pro win.
I think so too.
But then you turned around and you lost in a tiebreaker to Gabby Martinez, which is there's no shame in that. She's one of the top 4 or 5 women in the world, irrespective of her current pro ranking. So, but for someone like you, I feel like where your particular seating kind of puts you in, because you're not you haven't been touring so much so that you can have a nice safe top 8 seed, so you can kind of know who your matchups are week in and week out. So you're kind of, and I don't know off the top of my head where you're ranked right now, but or where that would sit you in. But I will say this, because of the COVID canceling a year's worth of tournaments, the seedings on the LPRT are just wacky right now. And so you never know who you're going to play.
No. Yeah, I mean, I don't really think about who I'm going to play until like I see the draw. So, and then I just one at a time. But yeah, the rankings are weird. I don't know. I think I'm like 18 now or 19 or something.
Right
It's
where
been
you want
hard.
to be. That's right where you want to be. You play right into the 1 or 2. Holly, what do you got in your lap there? Who is that?
It's my rat dog, Freddie.
Freddie?
Yeah, like
Freddie's-
Freddie Mercury.
Freddie's pretty cute. All right, I
Very
like
cute.
Freddie. Freddie, what's up, buddy? I like Freddie.
All
So,
right. Oh, well, hey.
go ahead, Todd. Go ahead.
So right now, Holly, you're 18. So assuming everyone shows up, you would play Adriana Riveros in a round of 32 match to then feed into the number 2 seed, who right now is, of course, Maria Vargas.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of that? If everyone shows up and there's no absences in the top 20?
Well, I'm pretty sure she's like not 8 months pregnant right now.
Oh, you're right.
So she's for sure not showing up, I think.
Todd, get with it. Yeah, Vargas will not be there. That's confirmed.
Hey, Janelle Tissinger showed up at Vegas, 7 months pregnant, and won the freaking doubles title with Paola. So
yeah, that's
So
That's-
I will never put anything past any female pro.
It's true.
That's pretty incredible. That is for sure. All right, Holly. So a couple questions for you. Obviously, your doubles partner is Lexi, correct? No.
I don't know.
Okay.
There
So
also
who,
might be something else in the works in women's too. We don't know yet. So.
on the pro tour or on the U.S. team stuff? I'm talking. So U.S.
Both.
team first. Oh, really? Okay. And you don't want
Both.
to talk. You don't want to talk about that right now.
I don't know if I can yet. I have to wait and find out. But
Okay.
who knows?
All right. Let's take this a different route. If you could pick your mixed pro partner in Colorado, handpick anyone, who would you want to play with?
Anyone?
Anyone.
Have to be my boy, my coach, Lalo Portillo.
Wow. All right.
Okay.
Did you say coach?
Yeah, he's my coach now, basically. He only through like tournaments. He's on the phone every second, texting,
Todd,
watching.
is he old enough to be a coach?
Is he younger than you?
He's a year younger than me, I think. Yeah. He's 21.
That's great.
Got a higher ranking than me. He's pretty good. So we're like
There-
besties.
There's definitely different methods nowadays. It's a lot different. Go ahead, Todd. I know you had something there.
Oh no, he's born in '99. So I think, but so from a mixed partner, all right. So I think personally, I think the best mixed doubles team in the world is the De La Rosa, right? They did a sweep in Vegas. They won Outdoor Nationals. They won Denver last year. You know, but every time that Mercado and Rivera play, neither of whom are, top 4 touring pros, but when they get together, they are a really tough doubles team. Is that something that the players talk about, or is the fact that you play mixed doubles so infrequent that you don't think about mixed doubles partnerships that much?
I mean, it is pretty infrequent. Like I think a lot of people just kind of show up and go, all right, we're playing mixed. And then right before the game, here's our game plan. Just because most people don't play either mixed or play with their mixed partner nearly as often. Like the last mixed pro stop was in New York, I think, like three years ago. And it kind of was the same. People were just like, okay, we're paired up. Let's go. And it ended up being really fun. I really enjoyed it. But
How do you like it, Holly? Would you, if it was available, would you look to play it more, the mixed pro?
oh, for sure. It was really fun. Yeah. It's a lot like a change of pace with a dude on the court with you, like a IRT guy and then another strong LPRT lady. It's pretty fun. Gets intense.
Do you prefer singles or doubles?
Singles, I think.
Interesting.
Just because it's like all me, and it's a little-
Holly, one of the things that maybe some fans don't know about you is that you have had a ton of success on the outdoor circuit as well. And in outdoor, not only is doubles considered, doubles gets a lot more priority than singles, I would say, but you end up playing a lot of doubles on outdoors, and especially in the mixed. So you're already playing more mixed doubles than the average person out there.
if you count once a year in the beach bash, I guess. But that's one wall too, which is like crazy different. But yeah, I guess technically, but I don't know if I count it as much compared to indoor versus one wall outdoor. So yeah.
Holly, you're in school full time?
Yeah, I'm on spring break right now. I have one more quarter left for undergrad, and I will be applying to grad schools in the next couple months, maybe out of state, maybe Texas.
So you're in school full time. You mentioned you have a job. Where's that job?
I work at a golf course for the summer.
Oh, awesome. Do you golf too?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, see, Todd, that's what I really want to do. Daniel and Charlie and I have talked about this. We want to, and Tony Carson too. We want to do like a mixed event where we do racquetball, a little golf, a little tennis, a little outdoor, and
call up Travis Aldinger in Pennsylvania does something exactly like that every year. It's golf, racquetball, and something else. He does there's a third thing, and I don't know exactly what he does.
Holly, what's your handicap? That's pretty cool. I didn't know that. Okay, but
I have no idea.
you can
Just
play.
kinda,
You can smack
yeah.
it. All right.
Putting is the weakness.
Well, racquetball is very, you got to get it's all about 100 in. Trust me.
Yeah, right.
I know all about it. I'm down to a 5 right now, so we'll have to
Jeez.
smack it around one day. So,
Sure.
all right, Holly, so you have a job, you're in school, and you're training to be a full-time professional and US team member. You know,
Yeah.
what's that like for you juggling that? And do you have sponsor support? Are there people or companies out there that are helping you, call it what it is, financially?
I mean, reaching your dream, of course. Shout out to Mike. Helps all the pros with the hotel, which is like a huge chunk of traveling expense. I have Sonny Mauricio. I think he's watching. He helps me out a lot. He's from Bellingham. At Gearbox through the contracts, everything. But it's tough to find people to sponsor, especially if you're a girl, which is hard. So it's tough. It's
How
tough.
would you, so if somebody wants to help you out or sponsor you or be part of Team Holly, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Instagram. I tried to put it in my little handle, but it cut off.
Okay.
um, yeah, message me through Instagram. Ask people, do you have this person? If you have Holly's number, just like text me, call me, Facebook. Like, let me know. I'm here. I'll support you. I'll fly out, give you lessons. I'll do clinics. I'll, help your business. I don't know. I'll do anything. I guess.
Todd, with all the smiles and laughing Holly does, have you seen how vicious she can be on the court?
Well, I mean, she alluded to it before. When she gets on the court, she's your enemy. She's playing to win. You know, get off the court and your teammates again. So yeah,
Basically.
I get it.
Well, Holly, Todd and I and Scotty Mack are going to let you go. We know you're obviously super busy. You school, work, training, and we'll bring you back on another time. Maybe when Ellie's back from his little vacation, and we'll see what's going on. But other than that, good luck in Carolina. Good luck in Colorado. Good
Yeah.
luck in St. Louis, and of course everything after that. But we appreciate you coming on tonight, Holly.
Sweet. Thank you for having me. That's great.
Thank you. We'll see you later.
Bye. Do I end it?
Todd, she's juggling a lot, and
Absolutely.
Holly's working hard, and there's a lot of cases like that out there, and that's why it's so important that you know USAR and LPRT and IRT and all these organizations get it right. There's
Mhm.
not many of us that can do what we do on our own without the help and support of
Mhm.
those organizations. There's very few of us, less than one hand. And we want to help people like Holly and many players that are trying to make a living from playing.
Mhm. Yeah, she's taking a pretty typical path, where she's playing while she's going to school. She mentions she's going to go to grad school. When she finishes grad school, she's going to be 24, 25, depending on what degree she pursues. And then she's going to face the same question that a lot of pros face. I think about, guys like, Mitch Williams or Jack Husek, who basically did that same path. They played while they were going and finishing up school. And then suddenly they're in their upper 20s and they're like, okay, I now have an MBA or I have a grad degree in my field and I can get a job paying X. And that X is usually a multiple of what I'm earning on the Pro Tour Y. And so suddenly, poof, they're gone.
Yeah, and it sucks losing those players.
And that's what you don't want to see. We don't see and this seems to be uniquely an American problem because a lot of the foreign athletes do get support from their federations.
Correct.
If they're if not every country's the same, and this is a generalization, but this really helps players in other countries stay focused, they don't have to go and make a choice. They can at least get a stipend or some type of salary structure that allows them to continue to train full time and can continue to compete, oftentimes for a decade if they're good enough.
Yeah, we talk about that a lot. Obviously, here I am in Ecuador, and my wife Veronica is the most decorated player in the history. But since she's 10 years old, she has received some sort of financial support from the government, allowing her to just focus on being the best possible racquetball player she can be and getting those medals. And, you know, she's not doing it now. Obviously, she's a mom and she actually likes tennis. She's played a lot of tennis, competitive tennis, and she's amazing at that too. It's unbelievable. But, you know, yeah, that's a big hurdle and obstacle we have that is frequently talked about. But the international support, again, money support they give these athletes and coaches, by the way. You know, I came down here as the head coach because of the opportunity that the country offered me. And it just doesn't exist anywhere else. I would love to coach Team USA, but they just couldn't afford it. Or maybe they can, but they don't want to pay it. You know, that's another discussion. You know, where do we allocate funds, right? Where should they go? Should we go to developing a team which develops juniors and develops players, because we're getting our asses kicked all over the place, you know, and it's not a great pattern.
No, I agree. You know, and it should be noted that some countries are better at this than others. You know, we've seen a lot of country switching in the last couple of years, in particular. People leaving, you know, oftentimes it's Bolivians that are moving to Argentina, or you know, there was a Mexican player who moved to represent Colombia recently.
Also Mexican that went to represent USA.
That's true. That is true.
I'm so glad he did that. Even though I'm not a big fan of you can just go play for other countries, by the way, just throwing that out there.
Well, you know what? You want to have a debate and a discussion. This is actually a pretty interesting topic, okay? Because dual citizens exist, right?
Sure.
And this topic comes up with other sports much more famous and larger than racquetball all the time. I just read something about how a player just committed to the U.S. soccer national team, right? And this player apparently could have chosen 3 different countries, you know, because you can go through your father's side and his heritage and your mother's side and her heritage, but then based on where you grew up, you know, and so sometimes these players will pay for one country as a junior, and then they'll do a one-time switch on the national team and they can get a waiver. Well, so turning this back and putting it, say, to someone like Alejandro Landa, hey, he's a dual citizen.
Right.
I got no problem doing what he did, you know.
Right.
It's not like he, you know, some kind of sandbagger who moved across the border so that he could suddenly become a U.S. citizen and compete for the U.S. national team. He's a citizen.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, from my experience, though, what we go through to gain U.S. citizenship seems to be slightly different and more difficult than other countries. And again, I don't know because I don't have dual citizenship right now. My kids do. Veronica doesn't. But you know, it's a process to get that citizenship. There's no doubt about it. And I forgot to mention this at the beginning. If you could hear, I do have a pretty wicked. It's allergy season. I do not have COVID. I took a COVID test yesterday, and I only took it because I'm traveling tomorrow. Speaking of, I'm going to work with some clients in the States, get those people better, maximize their abilities. Todd, I'm still waiting for you to call me to work on your backhand. I don't know what's going on.
In my youth, Sudsy, I needed you in 1998, not in 2021.
Oh, just a decision. That's all it is. You know. So Todd, we're going to end episode 35 tonight. We're going to say, you know, I think we kind of covered it. We definitely didn't want to get deep into it. And if you want to know what we're talking about, just go watch the beginning of the show. And if you lose interest right there, maybe that's part of the issue. You know, maybe I'm just calling a timeout. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the policy. We touched on it. It's okay to have opinions. It's good to discuss things. You know, I certainly have an opinion. I've done a ton of research. Go do some research and then talk about it. You know, these allergies are killing me right now. Sorry, everybody. But Todd, before I let you go, there's nobody better in the history of the sport than stats. So I want to know about your opinion, just yes or no. Don't give me a dance around answer. If the people I say you believe deserve to be in the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
Time out. I'm going to backtrack a little bit. I'm a big proponent. I think there should be a professional Hall of Fame. Do you agree?
So I've been thinking about this, and the problem, I've thought about whether or not there should be a pro Hall of Fame. because right now there is a USAR Hall of Fame, which is, with the exception of one person, entirely populated with Americans, right? That one exception is Heather McKay.
Well, that's USA Hall of Fame, USA Racquetball Hall of Fame.
Right, but they have pros, and so if you go and you look and you filter based on the pros, it's essentially like a who's who of the top pros that have played, since the early '70s till now.
Okay.
Racquetball Canada has their Hall of Fame. IRF has their Hall of Fame. I presume FMR has their own Hall of Fame, although I've never seen any documentation of it. So, if we were to create a pro Hall of Fame, and I should also note that the LPRT has their own Hall of Fame. There's a wall in the club that hosts the Sweet Caroline that is literally the LPRT Hall of Fame.
Great.
So I do worry a little bit about duplicating effort here. But that being said, with the way that our sport is going, over the next 10 to 20 years, how relevant is the USAR Hall of Fame going to be? Are they going to have to position themselves and basically claim that they are also the Pro Hall of Fame? Because what's going to start happening is, once we clear, the older retiring American pros right now, talking, basically Rocky and Ronda, the rest of the dominant players are all not Americans. And so at that point, does the USAR start admitting, more non-Americans? Like when Alvaro Beltran retires, he's a Hall of Famer. Is he going to go into the USAR Hall of Fame?
Well, there's 3 ways to get into the USAR Hall of Fame. It's your professional resume, your amateur resume, or as a contributor. But I mean, I don't have a problem with it being filled with USA players. That's part of why I think it's a no-brainer, just like any other pro sport in the world, and we should have a professional Hall of Fame.
Yeah. We seem to have the same problem that basketball has. There's not a pro basketball Hall of Fame. There's just the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame, and it gets college players and pro players, and there's this whole mix of, if you go in there and you're only a fan of the pro game or you're only a fan of the college game, you don't know who half the people are in there. So in that respect, there is an argument to be made for talking specifically about pro players.
Well, because of the way you put it, I am officially nominating you president of the new Professional Hall of Fame. But before we do that, and before I actually nominate you, I'm just going to say a few names. Yes or no, Hall of Famer. Okay?
Okay.
Drew Katchnick.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's a finite number of people that have won a pro tour, and he's one of them.
Tim Doyle.
Top 20. If you didn't know, he's top 20 in terms of tournament wins. And if you were to say to me, who's a Hall of Famer, out of the thousands of people that have played, and he's number 18 in career tournament wins, yeah, I think he's a Hall of Famer.
Tim Sweeney.
So Sweeney's an interesting one, because I think anyone who played against Sweeney, yourself included, probably would have predicted, if he had played the Pro Tour, that he would have, if not won a year-end title, but really been competing for it. Only guy that ever won 4 intercollegiates. I don't know if people knew that. He single-handedly cost Cliff a title one year. I'm not gonna. You earned it. I'm not gonna say it that way.
No, I know what he beat him in the 16s in Chicago.
Beat him in the 32s in Chicago.
32s, right? That's how big the draws were, guys. We used to start in the 64s.
Beats him in the 32s in Chicago when he's the number 1 seed, and he ends up losing the year-end title to you by 10 points. That had a huge part of it. So he was legit. I think yeah. Well, okay. You know what? You're a baseball fan, right?
Yes.
So we argue in baseball all the time about big hall or little hall, right? I'm a big hall guy, so I may be boring and just say yes to every one of your suggestions.
Oh no! See, I think you got to earn it. No doubt about it. And I think that, if I was starting a professional Hall of Fame, I'm not kidding. I don't know if I should say this. I would start it with probably 4 people and just inaugurate it like that. No, I'm sorry, more than that. But on the men's side, Cliff, Kane, Marty, and maybe myself, and just, open it up and say, hey, here's our Hall of Fame. And then you go to the women, and you got Gould and Paola, and boom, now you have a Pro Hall of Fame, and you can recognize all of those, all those players that are international. But I'm not going to get too far off base yet because I have an important one I want to ask you too now.
Okay.
John Ellis.
Oh, John Ellis, 100%. 13th.
I agree.
13th in Pro Tour wins, 16th in career win-loss percentage. Yeah, I'm looking at my notes. I've looked this up before.
Of course you are.
And he won those events. And he lived in a time where the tour also included Cliff, Sudsy, Andy. And it was the tail end of Rubin's career. It was basically the tail end of Yellen and Hogan's career. Those early 90s draws were ridiculous.
Rocky and Alvy were there. See, people don't realize Rocky and Alvy were there too. They were, Rocky and Alvy are 4 years younger than me or 3 years younger than me. Kane just came up, he was not Kane yet, but he was, because we noticed right away. Yeah, Ellie to me is a no-brainer. I say this all the time, Todd, and this definitely, I say Ellie's top 5 players of all time.
He's he's amazing, and it's such a shame that that he can barely swing a racket now because of what he did with his shoulder. But I'll turn this around. I'll ask you a couple.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Well, take a guess.
Wait,
who? Yeah.
Can we preface it with I think the hall should be much smaller.
You think the hall should be smaller?
I think that if you get in there, it's the pinnacle. It's the you have to have made an impact in so many ways.
Okay.
Like I almost want your name synonymous with the sport. So go ahead.
Well, the reason that this particular topic comes up is because we just had a hall induction, right?
Sure.
And if you didn't know, there were, we inducted 2 players. One was Amy Ruiz, who's the most decorated amateur doubles player in the history of the sport. Well, with the exception of one guy who I'm going to ask you about in a second. And then a contributor in Kelly Bean, who's done a ton for the sport. We left off a couple of people, but we're talking about pro players. So in particular, a player who didn't make the cut this year was Marcy Drexler. Okay.
I don't know enough about her and her career.
Number 12 all time in Pro Tour wins.
Okay.
She basically spent a decade ranked in the top 3 on the Pro Tour.
Okay.
Her career started at with Lynn Adams' sphere of dominance and ended with Michelle Gould's sphere of dominance.
So she was right in the mix, yeah.
And yet she still managed to win like 8 or 9 Pro Tours.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Great. She's in the top 10 career-wise in win-loss percentage. She won a ton of events. Yeah, I mean that's a pretty solid Hall of Fame.
Well, again, if we had a Pro Hall of Fame, sounds to me like she'd be inducted into that.
Yeah. Okay, here's another name for you. Or do you want to ask me a name?
No, go ahead. But I prefer you to ask me players that I have played against okay.
Javier Moreno.
IRF, yes. Into IRF, yes.
Yeah.
But no, USA Racquetball, no. USA Racquetball Hall of Fame, no.
Yeah. So I mean, like from a pro perspective, I feel like he had a career kind of like Mike Guidry's in some respect.
Mike Guidry.
So Mike Guidry's another great example. Another guy who was consistently in the top 6 or 7 for this entire range. Cliff, Sudsy, Ellis, Roberts, Ray,
Doyle.
Doyle. All these guys are on the top 8, and they toured together for 10 years, and it took Guidry forever to get through and eventually get his eventual tour win.
You forgot Jason. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, and Menino,
who is also in my top 5 of all time. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. The probably the most glaring omission or who's not in the Hall of Fame right now is Jack Husek.
He's a Hall of Famer for sure.
I mean, no-brainer Hall of Famer.
He can go in amateur or pro, just like Ellie can go in pro, amateur, and contributor.
Yeah.
I think that Rocky can do amateur or pro when it's his time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so again, it depends. It just depends, Todd. So, we will come back to this at some point. I know Ellie loves these chats with you, so we'll definitely have some good ones. But Todd, I just want to say again, thank you really for joining me tonight. It was a conversation. We weren't sure where it was going to go, and we spoke about it real quick before. I appreciate you never running from real issues, and you're somebody at USA Racquetball that I believe can and will make a change. I do believe that. I believe, but I don't know if you can do it alone. But you have a lot of support. There's a lot of people out there that are backing you, players, fans, personalities,
Mhm,
influencers.
mhm.
So don't be afraid to go in there and flip the proverbial table upside down if you think that's what needs to be done.
Look, any of us who care about the sport, we all recognize that that there's things that we need to get from point A to point B to point C. But we all disagree necessarily on the pathway there and how to get it done, or who should be responsible for getting it done. And these are not bad discussions to have. These are healthy discussions to try to, we talk about them. And I work in IT. We talk a lot about disruptors in the IT industry. Think about just what Uber did to the taxi industry. They disrupted it. They ended it by coming to it with a new and a different mindset. And suddenly, 10 years go by, and the taxi industry is completely different than it was 10 years ago. Maybe our sport needs a disruptive force of some capacity or another. I don't know what that is. If I knew what that is, I'd invest in the stock market, and I'd be wealthy.
Well, I won't go there. so, so Todd, again, thank you so much. Scotty Mack, thank you as always. Veronica, my love, thank you for all you do for the show. And of course, players, fans, supporters, everybody out there, I'm doing what I do for you. Your messages, your comments, it's all about you. And I appreciate that. And I'm going to keep going just like you will. And don't forget, we are Racquetball and we'll do what we can. Don't give up. Let's keep going. Todd Boss will help him out. And we will see you next week, Sunday night, episode 36. I'll be coming at you from not Ecuador. It'll be somewhere in the United States.
New
And
York
if you
City.
maybe so, but there will be some cool content too. Watch next week. I'll be in different places doing some cool racquetball stuff. So take a look at that. And if you want to know who my mixed pro partner is for Denver, message me. Maybe you could sponsor me and I'll tell you. You get in on that. Todd, don't go anywhere. See you guys later. Have a great night. Thank you again.